voice in my head said, "Don't blow it." Well, I think Karen would be the first to remind us that, yes, she gave birth to the vision of unity at the lake, but Dr. Martin probably had a lot to do with delivering the baby. So I would have hoped that Karen asked for permission for Unity at the Lake to start in their living room. Anyway, he's been a huge part of it, as other people in this room. Linda, I believe, was in the living room. I never made it to the living room. I think the first time I came, we were already in the senior center. It was at night. We had guest speakers, and I was one of them. I think I guest spoke the first Sunday that One Voice sang. So I have a feeling that was like 96 or something. Anyway, I was 7 years old at the time. It was quite amazing. Why do you laugh at that? Okay, so 30 years. Can't trust us anymore. You don't remember that saying? You don't have that anymore? Can't trust anybody over 30? So it seems like the perfect day to wrap up our merry romp through Unity's 5 basic principles. Hopefully it's the perfect day because it's happening. So I will say that it was Unity's principles that attracted me to Unity. They were and are very similar to principles I had already fell in love with in chiropractic. Chiropractic's based on 33 principles. Unity's based on 5, and the only reason that is because the early chiropractors were very wordy. You can boil those 33 down and get 5 easily, and they'd be very close to our 5. So that obviously was a nice transition for me. These principles have really become the foundation of my life, and I am super grateful for that. Super grateful for you guys. So, quick review. Principle number 1, there is only one presence and one power active in our life and in the universe. That is God the Good. Number 2, we are that. Number 3, since we are that, we probably would choose to pay more attention to that. Number 4, prayer and meditation. And, as we talked about last week, denials and affirmations are the best way to pay more attention to that. And so here we are at number 5, the one nobody likes. I remember, I think it was Larry Schelling, one of our former ministers, was the first one to say something like, he was talking about forgiveness, and he said, everybody thinks forgiveness is a great idea until they have to do it. And that's how I feel about the 5th Unity principle. And of course, like all the principles, by this date, there are very multiple versions of them. Our website says, through thought, words, and actions, we live the truth we know. Generally, my favorite version of the 5 principles comes on the bookmark with the kids' version. And it says, I do and give my best by living the truth I know. I make a difference. Always the best. I found another one online. It says, we must put spiritual truth into practice in order to change our lives. And I suppose that's the bummer. We must actually, so the way I look at the 5th principle is, it doesn't really do us a lot of good to know the first 4. We could recite the first 4, we can memorize the first 4, we can write theses about the first 4, but if we don't embody the truth of our being, it doesn't really make any difference. Yeah. I looked up the word embody, by the way. Embody means to be an expression of. Embody means to give tangible or visible form to an idea. And how do we do that? By doing it. Why? Why? I ask myself this all the time. Why? Why do I always have to do this work? Why do I have to embody this? Why do I have to apply these principles no matter what? And I think the answer comes in a quote I love from the Buddha, who said, "We don't get upset because of what happens. We get upset because we are upsettable." George Carlin said, "Have you ever noticed that anybody driving slower than you is an idiot, and anyone going faster than you is a maniac?" Apparently, you've all noticed that. I've seen some of you idiots and maniacs out on the road, as a matter of fact. Yeah. So this is an indication to me that sometimes we don't really know how upsettable we are. Do we? I have been cut off on the road, and I've gotten so upset that the meaning I gave that was this person planned it. It was like premeditated. I could see them with the charts. Like, if I just arrive at this time, that is an upsettable attitude. And I eventually get back to, oh, maybe somebody was giving birth in the back seat or something. I don't know, right? So I have good news for you. In case at this point in your life you have not yet developed a daily discipline practice, as I call it, a daily practice of spiritual principles to remember the first 4 principles, take heart. Everyday life offers multiple opportunities to practice. Yes or yes? Yeah. So, and meditation, which I have done almost daily. I think I take a day off or 2 when we're on vacation and stuff sometimes, but almost daily for over 35 years, meditation, visualization, prayer, these things definitely fill my resilience gas tank, and yet in the moment, sometimes I can be a raving lunatic 5 minutes after I've meditated. You didn't laugh at that, so maybe it's not true for you, yes? Because no matter how much, again, and please meditate. Please don't stop meditating based on this, but it's also really good to have tools ready in the moment for those times when there's either a maniac or an idiot driving in front of you, or any of those times. My thing lately, by the way, the thing that's been upsetting or testing my upsettability level more than anything else, believe it or not, is not a real major thing. But it doesn't have to be a major thing, does it? It's e-bikes. And it was funny, I'm standing here, and signs all over the place, e-bikes. And you know, I'm not against e-bikes. I get the idea of e-bikes. We even thought of getting e-bikes for the roads. You know, because to leave my house, it's straight uphill in every direction. It would be nice to get a little assist. And I like the fact that they don't stink. And I like the fact that they don't make a lot of noise. However, stay off my trails. Because they don't make any noise, they have a tendency of sneaking up on me. And I cannot get used to the fact that I'm come around a bend and there's something coming at me quickly on a trail that I wouldn't expect to see something like that. Hillary, you could tell I'm still upset about it. Hillary and I were at Kiva Beach. We're walking on the part from the forest to the sandy beach. It's a tiny little sandy trail, and it was like a flippin' parade of e-bikes coming around the bend and coming behind me. I'm like, This is the most stressful walk I've taken in my entire life. And then Hillary chooses to share with me this news about vandalism at Tahoe Paradise Park. And one of the things that happened there was kids on e-bikes doing circles and spins and stuff have destroyed the lawn there. And so now my rant has accelerated beyond scaring me. It's about these e-bikes are contributing to a life of crime for our youth. I remember that next week I'm doing a talk on the fifth principle of unity. And it became crystal clear, man, I meditated for 35 years and I still got to do some work. Because it's in the moment that you and I are called upon to be present, to open our heart, to choose based on our principles, to love, serve, remember. Ow. Yeah. E-bikes. So again, it is really, really, really great to have a tool that we've practiced, that we're diligent about using, that we can remember to use, because you know what? You and I have a lot of tools, don't we? You and I have countless tools. And there's a common denominator about those tools. Two, actually. Number one, they all work. And number two, only if we work them. And work them. And I don't want to even call it work. Work is when we don't use the tool. So, the tool I've been using, practicing diligently now for quite a while, since Hillary became a heart math resilience mentor. She's led you through meditations. It's some combination of a heart-focused breathing, and I add the element. Once I take a few breaths into my heart and create a little space, I go to the island of peace in my soul. I dip my toes in the sand. I look out, and my island, by the way, it's got a nice coral reef, beautiful aquamarine, calm lagoon. The rest of the island weirdly looks like here. So it's like Lake Tahoe on an island with a lagoon. And you can make any kind of island you want. And it's amazing to me, every single time I manage to get myself to the island, it helps. Because it's not just an island of peace in my soul, it's an island of joy, it's an island of safety, it's an island of wholeness, it's an island of abundance, it's an island of compassion, and that's the island I really needed in the moments of my e-bike ranting. I found compassion. And I'm like, and it's amazing when you find compassion. When I find compassion, it always shows up in the form of just like me. I'm complaining about these bikes on the paths that I walked my dogs on for 35 years. They're not supposed to be there. So, who am I to judge, right? Have I ever taken a tool, a nice thing, and overdid it a little bit? Have I ever bugged anybody? Right? So I find compassion for people and their tendency to maybe push things a little too far and take convenience a little too far. I'm like, back of my mind, there's a voice saying, get off your bike, walk a little bit. It's okay, it won't kill you. But I even found compassion for the young Kids who tore up the lawn, you know what? Would a kid who thinks or believes they matter in this world do something like that? I don't think so. So, I didn't mean to depress you all, but it was helpful for me to find compassion about this. So again, it's great to have tools, but you know what? It's not about collecting tools in this beautiful tool belt and like showing them off to everybody. We gotta dust those things off. We gotta take them out of the belt. We gotta use them. And I'll say this now, again, I don't want to call it work, because if you have a tool that can consistently get you to the island of peace in your soul, and you do that, I doubt very much you're going to call me up on the phone and yell at me for suggesting this. You get this? It always feels good. It always helps. And I don't want to stay on the island. I like it here. I like you guys. I like engaging in the world. But going to the island makes it so much easier to be here. Going to the island always helps. Going to the island, I always come back a little clearer, a little more joyful, a little more filled with compassion. We embody the truth of our being, and this is how we do it. This is how we do it. By doing it. So living the truth that we know. I do and give my best by living the truth I know. And living the truth I know means we practice returning again and again to our God self. Yes? So this might require overcoming some tendencies we have. Like, I'll just talk about me. Right? Sometimes, instead of going to the island of peace in my soul, I'll say, well, I was just there. Why do I have to go again? Or, well, if it wasn't for Hillary, I'd still be there. You just happened to be sitting right there. Right? Or I don't want to. Or again, all these mental gymnastics. Wait, I had one more. Yeah, I tried that, or I just did that, or how did I end up here again? How did I end up away from the island again? Who can I blame? Who can I shame? Any of these things don't get me to the island, do they? No, they don't. Or it's too hard. It's too hard to do that. Well, again, we addressed this, I think, last week or the week before. No, it's harder off the island. Isn't it? Always. And we may think it takes work to get to the island. We don't realize how hard we're working to stay off the island. And we don't realize how hard we work to deal with putting out the fires from not going to the island. We're just used to that work. Living the truth means knowing that these principles are always, always true. Spiritual principles are always true, just like physical ones. If I did that 100 times, how many times would the bookmark fall to the ground? I can count on that. In fact, I do count on that. What if I counted on spiritual principles the way I count on that? And you know what? This physical principle of gravity, you can't even see it, can you? This is faith. Faith in something unseen. None of us at the edge of a cliff would probably do the Mexican hat dance or spin around or jump. Would we? No, we wouldn't. 100% of the time. So again, if we were as sure of that as we are about gravity, so practicing no matter what. Some of us seem to find it easier to practice when things are good and easy. Some of us only practice when the schmutz is heavily hitting the fan. But if we practice all the time, if we practice regardless of the appearance or what our perception is, whether this is good, bad, or indifferent, then again, when we really need it, when that e-bike comes around a corner way too fast, we'll be ready. We'll have that tool sharpened and dusted off and readily accessible, and we'll remember to use it. That's my suggestion for you today is pick one. Pick one. I think sometimes we suffer from knowing too many tools. And when the schmutz is hitting the fan, if we're not used to having one, picking one, using one, then it's going to be like, it's like, have you ever come home from a seminar with 10,000 pages of notes and you're like, I can't possibly do all this, so you don't do anything? So this is why, for many years, going to seminars, my goal is to come back with one thing that I know will help, that I will actually do. That is my suggestion, my encouragement, my advice, excuse the expression. Pick one, and pick the one you enjoy. Pick the one that you know you'll remember. Pick the one. It doesn't matter which one, they all work. Does everybody have one in mind? You don't have to tell me what it is, but good. And again, let's overcome, the tendencies we might have to not use it. And if we forget to use it, as my beautiful wife would tell you, it's okay to forget as long as we remember. It's okay to forget as long as we remember. And again, the more we diligently apply, embody one practice that will help us immediately get into the flow of those first four beautiful principles. They are beautiful principles. They are life-changing principles. But it is doing them, it is applying them, it is practicing, again, even if it's only one, over and over, regardless of the appearance of things. That's when our life really changes. Let's close our eyes for a moment. One breath. One breath can bring us right to the island of peace in our soul. I invite you to go there right now. If you haven't ever been there, you can create it. It can be a place you already know. And as long as in this place you feel safe and powerful, connected, free, abundant, whole, this is a powerful place to be. Always there. Always accessible. Always tapping on the door of our heart saying, come on home. Come on home. There's a light in the window. A place that feels like home. Just let that vision melt into your heart where it will always be. Thank you, God, for this island, for the work we intend to do, though it's not work. To come back to this island regularly. Thank you, God. And so it is. Amen.
Thank you, Stu. That was wonderful. I need an island in my car. I have issues. I'm working on those issues too. And now would be the time we would bring our gallery on, if that's possible. Is it possible or is it not possible? I'm checking in with our tech here. I think we're going to make it possible. Now maybe we can say hi to everybody. And while we're doing that, if there is anybody here for the first time and you would like to get a welcome packet, raise your hands and we will bring you a welcome packet. And if you're on Zoom and you would like that wonderful welcome packet, all you have to do is type into the chat your information and we will actually send you that welcome packet. Yeah. And so we have there's Cindy. Good morning, Cindy. And good morning, Chrissy and Ken and Kathy and Evelyn. Thank you for joining us today.